Hey guys, John from flyatmykelf.com, and today I want to give you guys 3 short, sweet tips on how to pass your private pilot check ride. 3 simple things you can do to make sure you're going to be good to go and have a great day on the day of your check ride. First, number 1 thing is be organized. I know that's easier said than done, but we're going to give you a few ways to become organized. First, use this checklist here before your check ride to make sure you're bringing everything you need on the day of your check ride. We'll include a link to this checklist in the description below, but make sure you have all of these things and maybe a few more you can write down in addition to it, but have your logbook, have all your documents, have your knowledge test report, and have all your charts that are required for your flight. Make sure if you're using an iPad, it's all charged up, and make sure you have everything in a nice, neat, orderly fashion so that when you actually get into the airplane, you'll be able to pull up a taxi diagram easily, pull up a sectional chart easily, and be able to identify where you are on the airport, where you are in the air, and all of those sorts of things so that you're fully aware of what's going on around you and you never feel like you're falling behind the airplane on the day of your check ride. It also really helps to make a great impression on the DPE when you show up and all of your things are in order and you have your logbook all tabbed out, you have the far aim tabbed out with the sections that you know you might be referring to. It really shows that you're prepared to be a private pilot and take on that responsibility, and you really take flying seriously. The next tip I have for you is give short, sweet answers. It's always been said that your mouth will get you in trouble. It's a fact. It's a proven fact, and it's happened to me before too, and it's probably happened to all of us at one point or another. Simply try to give the shortest answers possible. If he asks you, hey, tell me about your airplane, you can say, well, my airplane's white. And if he wants to know more, he'll ask you more. If he's satisfied with that answer, he'll move on to his next question. There's certain number of questions he has to ask you. If you can just give short, sweet answers to as many of them as possible and move on without digging yourself a hole, then you'll be much better off. If he says, tell me about your airplane, and you start talking about angle of incidence and angle of attack and camber and this and that and wing dihedral and maybe some subjects that you're not totally up and familiar with, it could really hurt you in the end because he'll want to know more about those subjects when you go ahead and bring them up. He goes, oh, what a great idea. Sure, tell me more about that. And that's when you know you start digging yourself a hole. Never be afraid to mid-sentence simply stop what you're saying. If you feel like you're digging yourself a hole, simply just stop and say, I'm sorry, I think I might have misspoke. Let me say that again, and say it in an even shorter, sweeter way. And if you ever feel like you've said the wrong thing, just continue going on until he stops you and says, no, that is totally wrong. Remember, on the check ride, you don't have to say the right thing, you just can't say the wrong thing. The best thing to do in that case is just not say too much at all. And the third final tip I've got for you guys is make sure you treat the DPE like a passenger. Make sure that you tell him everything you would tell a passenger. How the seatbelt works, how the door works, what kind of aircraft you're in. If you're in a light sport aircraft, it's going to be placarded as such, and you're going to have to let him know that that light sport aircraft does not conform to normal airworthiness category requirements. That's a really crucial thing if you happen to be doing your private or sport pilot check ride. Sport pilot, obviously, you're going to be in a sport airplane. Private pilot, you still might be in a sport airplane, like a 162, a Skycatcher. Make sure you let him know that that airplane is a light sport aircraft that does not conform to normal airworthiness category requirements. How the door works, how the seatbelts work, and any other safety briefing you might include for a regular passenger, make sure you give to the DPE. Ask him if he has any questions. You're the pilot in command that day. You're ultimately responsible for the safety of the flight, and you're ultimately responsible for his safety or her safety as well. Make sure that you answer all their questions on the ground, and don't be afraid to brief them on certain things like, hey, if we hear the radio come on, if we hear radio communication, I need you to be quiet, whether it's a tower or CTAF or anyone talking on the radio. If you're talking or asking me a question and you, the student, might feel a little overwhelmed, say, I'm simply going to put my hand up and ask you just to give me a break there and let me fly the airplane. I'll let you know when I'm ready to continue your question or whatever it might be. Don't be afraid to tell the DP to be quiet. It's their job to introduce distractions to you on your check ride. It's up to you to try to mitigate those distractions and how to handle them properly. And you can do that simply by saying, please be quiet for a moment. Let me fly the airplane. I'll get right back to you. Also, never be afraid to ask them to do things for you. Use them as a resource. Obviously, they can't fly the airplane for you, and they can't tell you where you are in the sectional chart. That's your job, but they can hold a sectional chart. Any passenger can manage to hold a map and not drop it. Any passenger can manage to reach in the back seat and grab a water bottle for you. and open it for you and then hand it to you, take a drink and put it back. They can do those sorts of things and use them to your advantage. It's not an inconvenience to them. They're actually happy to see you using your resources, because then they know that you're going to go out, fly with your buddy, and ask your buddy to grab the water bottle out of the back seat for you, rather than you try to grab the water bottle out of the back seat while you're flying the airplane with someone else who's totally inexperienced and knows nothing about airplanes. They want to see what you're going to do once you have a license and you're out there on your own. So show them that you have good judgment and use them as a resource. And that's it that I've got for you guys for the 3 simple ways to pass your check ride. Those are my 3 best tips I can give you. There's lots of other tips and a lot of good other information on all our playlists on our YouTube channel and on our website. Make sure you check that out. Also check out our Patreon page. We really appreciate all the support you guys give us. It really helps to keep this a free program for everyone. Anything you can give us really helps. So be sure to check out patreon.com/fly8mikealpha. Really appreciate it, guys. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, like our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up with our latest videos as they come out. And as always, if you can't fly every day, then fly at mikealpha.com. We'll see y'all next time.